some individuals who are very successful within our company, like vice presidents, who know I stream. And I don't know if you've ever actually checked out my stream, but I say a lot of things on my stream.
I say a lot of things.
We're live. Oh, what is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Easy Company Podcast, Episode 3. My name is Dom, otherwise known as Tango, and I will be your host for this episode. With me today, we have Kyle, otherwise known as GingerBeerdGaming, and Ryan, otherwise known as AngryPrivateRyan. How are y'all doing this morning?
I'm tired as hell, but
I can see. I'm not even gonna lie. So I get the message on Discord from Ryan this morning. It's like, we're doing 8:30 Pacific time, and I look at my clock. It's like 8:20. I'm like, fuck. I don't know. Are we? Is that what we agreed on?
I can tell that's what you were meaning when you were like, "Is that what we agreed on?" Like, because I'd like to renege on that agreement.
Well, at least Ginger was like offline and totally MIA, so I don't feel bad.
Oh, yeah.
I was asleep.
I mean, I assumed when I didn't see Ginger on and it was like 10 minutes till, I just was like, I'm up, I'm here. Is that what we planned on? I don't know, because we didn't really set anything. So
Oh man.
that's what it was.
We're real pros, is what you should.
Yeah, a highly professional environment.
Yeah, you. Why are you so tired?
Well, I stayed up till 2 a.m. last night.
Oh
so
no.
I've recently been bitten by the Arma 3 bug.
So Veggie has this like Vietnam server in Arma 3 he's been messing around with. So like, okay, I have had Arma 3 installed on my freaking system forever, right? Because it's one of those really big games that you don't want to re-download, and you always think you're going to go back and revisit it. But it's been like over a year since I touched Arma 3. So I was like, I'm not going to play this anymore. Uninstall. Like the next day, Ginger's like, yo, Veggie's got this Arma 3 server. You got to play. I'm like, God fucking damn it. So I reinstalled it, and yeah, it was actually a blast. We were messing around with like the Zeus thing, where someone's essentially the dungeon master and they spawn enemy units and they give you objectives and they try to mess with you and stuff. So that's what Ginger was doing till 2 a.m. last night. The only reason I stopped is, I don't know, dude. I was tired as hell. A little drunk, I guess. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I did some real drinking yesterday.
As you should.
It was a good day. It was a good day.
Saturdays for the boys, you know?
Damn right.
So while we're on the topic of games that we're playing, so Ryan, your main bread and butter is Call of Duty, right? Warzone. But you've kind of been branching out and playing some other games lately and kind of branching out from Call of Duty. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I have. It was kind of, I think I talked a little bit about it on the last podcast, but this last Battle Pass season on Call of Duty was the first time where I got to like the weekend before the season was ending and the Battle Pass was ending, and I hadn't completed the season yet. And that's mainly because I've been kind of playing some other games, and a couple different reasons behind it. Call of Duty's been having a lot of, at least during the last season, they had a lot of technical glitches that were made the game basically unplayable. So there was a couple weeks span where I just didn't play it because I couldn't. But really, I think there's a lot of games going around right now. I feel like, and a lot of buzz around a lot of different games. So, we played some DayZ together as a team stream quite a bit. We played a little bit of Among Us, unfortunately. And this last week, I actually jumped back into a game that I love very much. I streamed on Monday night, The Long Dark, which is a survival, single-player survival game. It does have a story mode that I've never actually played. That is still kind of a survival game, but they give you more like story-driven objectives that you got to go complete and whatnot while surviving. But I've always played just the sandbox survival mode. And basically the premise is you are dropped into the Canadian wilderness in the dead of winter, like the northern Canadian wilderness. after I believe it's some sort of like geomagnetic storm that's knocked out all power, all electricity, and basically there's no one to be found around you, and you just got to survive in the sandbox mode. And it's a pretty big map. Each individual map has connecting points, so you can go to different areas, and each map has its own pros and cons, whether it be a lot of shelter and resources, but a lot of wildlife or things like that. And yeah, so I played that for my Monday night stream, and it was a blast. I love getting back into it. I've put in quite a bit of time into that in the past, but it's always one of those games where I kind of go in and out of and kind of get on a kick, but then fall out of it and don't play it for a while, but then come back.
Did there not used to be like preset objectives? It was literally just like they drop you in, then you're just like survive.
When it first dropped, the story mode, I think it was still technically early access. Kyle can correct me there, because me and him both were into it like early on at the same time. But I think it was in early access, or it was at least right when it released. They didn't have the story mode finished yet, so it was always a sandbox at the beginning, and so that's why it's just all what I play, because that's just how I've always known the game. But you literally just see how long you can survive.
Cool. That's one of those games I've always wanted to get into, and I never did. And I think it's just because I didn't care to spend the money on it at the time, but it's on freaking Game Pass now, so
Is it really?
It is.
Wow.
It is. So now that I'm picking it up for free, air quotes, because it's still technically a monthly subscription, but it's like pennies, because I pay for the PC version of Game Pass, and it's like $5 a month. And so I basically have access to all like the titles that are on PC, and I think now is probably the time that I want to get into it. But there's so many other freaking games that I want to play too. Now Arma 3 is thrown in the mix too, so like there's even less time for other games.
You can't let Ginger do this to you though, because he does this. He's like an evil ADD gremlin who's just like, no, let's go play this again. And it's like, no.
Wouldn't it be fun if we all played this new game together?
But you always have fun. You always have fun with me.
Dude, I know. And who was, I don't know if it was you or Veggie that got me onto Phasmophobia. I think it was you though. Oh no, it was you. It was you, because you put it in you put it in the Discord that one day. Yo, check this game out, and this awesome freaking trailer of this guy like hunting ghosts, and he's all alone, and you hear the guy on the radio like, you're on your own, you're risking your own life at this point. And I'm fucking sitting there thinking like, holy shit, this game is nuts. I have to play it.
You guys are buffoons. I don't know how you play that game,
bro. With an iron will.
I've literally heard such high pitched screams come out of Django's voice. Like, I mean, the man's like,
oh no, you're talking. All right, no, you're talking about high pitched. Let's talk about something that happened to Ginger and I recently on that game, dude. So we're in this house, right? And we're hunting this ghost, and we have what's called a spirit box, and it basically just goes through all these different radio frequencies and tries to pick up whatever frequency that a ghost might be speaking on. So we got this thing on the dining room table, and it's going through all these frequency, and everyone's talking, Ginger's like, all right, hold comms, we're going to ask it a question. Where are you? And all you hear is, here. And fucking Ginger looks at me, he's like, oh, he's here. He's here! Bro, I ran out of that goddamn house so fast, man.
Oh god, dude. I just don't get why do people just willingly scare the shit out of themselves like that?
For the memes, I guess.
Funny. It's
yeah.
Funny as shit.
It's
really funny. It's really funny. We've gotten a lot of good clips out of that.
You've seen the clips. Yeah. The game's the game's hilarious.
I mean, just pure gold. Pure gold.
Oh my god. What are we talking about? What we're playing?
I
guess we could.
I mean, kind of whatever. We don't have to narrow it down.
I think I've been really inconsistent. Like I was gonna try to finish Doom this week, and for whatever reason, it didn't want to cooperate with me. So I may try to do some of that today. But anyway, I got into Phasmophobia. I'm not actually sure. How did we get into that game? Like I honestly have no idea.
I got into it because you got into it.
I guarantee. Right. I think it was Veggie. I think Veggie posted it in someone's Discord, and y'all hopped on the train.
Well, anyway, so Doom wasn't working, and then yeah, I think it was Veggie. I think Veggie was like, well, here, come play this game, and so I ended up streaming that for like 7 hours total over a couple of days. It's really fun. Still early access. They're gonna add a lot of stuff, I guess, but the basic premise of the game, as everybody probably knows at this point, is you're a team of like ghost hunters, but like of the Ghost Hunter TV show variety. So you've got all these kind of weird equipment and like the radios and stuff. Very atmospheric and just pretty fun. You also, there's like a little bit of a mystery solving thing where you have to kind of narrow down what kind of ghosts you're dealing with and stuff. But it's really scary. Like I'm surprised. I expected to be scared by it the first couple of times, but it's like remained consistently pretty creepy. And it has like kind of like that co-op Left 4 Dead element to it, which is pretty cool. Somebody's in the truck watching the video cameras. Oh shit, there's orbs floating around and yada yada. So anyway, it's been fun. It's been a fun little diversion. I'm a little worried about how replayable it's going to be. I mean, depending on what they add and what they don't add, but for now it's been a nice little diversion.
It has some potential. Yeah,
like
they can only add so much.
Right?
It's $12. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for. You get your money's worth out of it for sure. Mm-hmm. Real quick, for anyone who, we keep mentioning Veggie, and a lot of viewers might not know who he is. Veggie, It's Veggie Omelet MRE on Twitch. Dude, we play with a lot of video games with, and he's awesome dude, and it's really fucking fun to play games with and hang out with. So, but yeah, Veggie's Arma server.
Podcast, Veggie.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
But his freaking Arma server, I actually had a really good time with that last night. And like I never messed with like the Arma 3 Zeus or any of that stuff where, you have the guy that's the one player that's just spawning in all the enemies and then giving you all the intel and trying to create that scenario for you guys. But that was the first time I've actually ever dabbled in that. It was really freaking a good time. And I actually want to try my hand at Zeus now. Like, I never thought about it before, but that's like a whole new way to play Arma. I always used to just play like King of the Hill and like all the pre-made stuff. You just jump into random servers, whatever. But I don't know if I ever had like a huge team of people to play Arma with, or even just like a team to play like those scenarios with. I'm looking forward to it. And Squad too. We were playing a little bit of that last night, Ginger.
Yes.
I've considered dabbling back into that one. I really did enjoy Squad. I got frustrated with the community on it a little bit because it can be a little.
Oh yeah.
It's not exactly a low barrier of entry when it comes to learning curve and then the folks around you. For the there's plenty of people.
I want to interrupt real quick because last night, so Tango was playing light anti-tank class, and it's been a while since he played it. So they used to like the RPGs on the Russians and the insurgents. They used to just have like the iron sights or whatever. At one point last night, we're running across this field as the Russian team against the Americans, and a Bradley runs across the road, or drives across the road. And everybody's like, shoot it, AT, and I just hear Tango, like I hear him scope to his crazy Russian scope that they now have on the AT, and he's like, what the fuck? How do you aim with this thing?
Bro, there's so many fucking lines and grids on that thing. I'm just like, I don't even know how to shoot this thing. Like, what?
Yeah, I've played enough recently that I kind of know, but I knew instantly what he had seen, and like, oh my god, I was cracking up.
Well, I mean, there was also, we had an Abrams, right? We had an Abrams that was freaking, that we were trying to take down. I shoot one at it, it hits it, blows up. Ginger shoots one at it, hits it, blows up. I shoot a second one at it, it freaking bounces off the armor and deflects. And then we got our squad leader talking about, hey, Command is over here asking us why we aren't shooting at this tank. It's like, we fucking are, asshole. And that goes a little bit into the community, like you mentioned, like, it wasn't like, hey, let's try to get rid of this tank. It's like, yeah, we're working on it. It's like, I got another squad leader telling me that you guys aren't shooting at the tank. What's going on? Like, what are you talking about?
My counterpart says we're a bunch of idiots. What is happening? But it's like, I loved the realism and whatnot. Like the sound effects in that game are some of the best out of a shooter I've ever heard. It's just, I love it. Mm-hmm. But oh my god. I remember there was like an instance where we were trying to build, I think a fob or something, and I'm supposed to pull my shovel out, and I didn't know which button was like build and which button was like dismantle. And so I'm just over here. I think I was dismantling while other people were trying to build, and they're like, "Hey, dumb shit." And I'm like, "Yes." Hello, I am the dumb shit. I'm sorry, I don't know how to play the game, fuckheads. If you just, if you could help walk me through it, maybe I won't do this again for the next.
Especially since I'm pretty sure I joined a server that was specifically titled noob-friendly server, and it's very evidently not that.
Yeah, it's just, and then like the bandaging mechanics, I always struggled to get my like head around, what I can bandage and because I think you had to like bandage something up before like a medic could come heal you, and so like I'm like sitting there, I've been shot, and I'm like, I need a medic, and he's like, well, bandage yourself first, idiot. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. I was just like, I was so at a loss. So I really enjoy it, and I'd be interested in jumping back into it with you boys, I think. But
you should.
The community.
We'll form a complete squad.
Yeah, then I don't have to worry about people yelling at me.
We totally could. You'll still have command yelling at you, but your squad will be on you. We'll have your back. We'll have your back. Dude, wait. We had a commander artillery strike his own team yesterday.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The enemy team. Yeah.
Oh, the enemy commander?
Oh, dude, we're charging this hill, and like across the valley, you just see plumes of smoke, and then global chat is just going nuts, bro.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
That guy left the game immediately. I don't know if he did it on purpose or if he just embarrassed himself so hard. He's like, I'm leaving. I'm going to get a whole world of shit from this.
I mean, either way, you should probably get the hell out of that server.
You get yelled at because you can't figure out how to bandage. Imagine killing your whole team with an artillery strike.
See, Ryan, it could be
in the grand scheme of things, I'm not doing that bad. Oh, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, so also Mafia. I just finished that game.
Tell us about that.
I was really frustrated by the controls in Mafia. I'm starting it off with something negative, but I don't have a negative view of the game at all. But I was really frustrated because the controls were like just weird for mouse and keyboard. And like the gameplay was okay. It wasn't stellar. You know what I mean? Like the shooting mechanics, all that was okay. But what I really enjoyed about the game a lot was the fact that you feel like you're watching a movie the whole way through. Like it's got a really awesome storyline, and it's a very like cinematic game. You really get attached to the characters and stuff, and you kind of see how like the toll that being a mobster and killing people is taking on your character as the story develops and stuff like that. So I remember there was this one scene where there's like the whole mission just went completely freaking haywire. You know, one of your really good buddies gets shot, and he's in the back of this freaking truck with a whole like a whole mess of like Canadian Border Patrol chasing you guys and shooting at you, and this is a whole big scene, right? And so you get home like super late at night, and your wife is immediately just like, dinner's cold, why'd you even bother coming home? Like she's just like giving you shit, right? And your character's just standing there at the door, and then she kind of looks over at you, and you got this 1,000-yard stare in your face, right? And your only response is just like, work. You know? And I was just like, holy crap, man. Like, I don't know, that scene was just so freaking emotional. I was like, man, this guy's going through some shit, you know? Like... And overall, like all the way up to the end, I'm not going to spoil the ending for anybody, but I really enjoyed the ending of it too. But I recommend it for anybody that wants to just play a game where it's just a very story-driven game. But other than that, like if you want like an awesome, you know, shooter or whatever, maybe that's not the game for you. But if you just want to follow a really awesome storyline, I'd recommend it. I'd pick it up. Nice. Also, The Witcher 3. That's another one.
I was gonna say, I've been seeing you get into a lot of story-driven games lately, and I'm honestly jealous of you. Like, have you guys found that you're less able to do that now than you used to be able to? Or is that just me?
Because of time restrictions of just being an adult, or what do you mean?
I don't know if it's time restrictions. I mean, I've got a decent amount of time right now. I just can't, like, I tried to get back into The Witcher, and I really wanted to. and I just was too fucking ADD about it. Like, it seems like that's consistent for the story-driven games for me lately. With the exception of Doom.
I was gonna try to not come at you like this, but I'm gonna probably come at you like this.
Yeah.
I think it's just because you can't finish a story-driven game, brother.
I mean, I have finished them before, though. In the past. I'm saying it's a recent thing.
Well, how recent, though?
I don't know, since I started
this man.
I blame Steam Summer Sale and Epic Game Store giving free games away all the freaking time. Yes, there's too much stuff. There's too many things.
Okay, everyone needs to know this because I think it is bad.
Shit,
because this man has not yet finished Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
But the reason why.
No, what?
Bro, Sean just gets murdered in front of me, and I can't be hurt like that again. I can't.
Oh, get out of here.
And then Jose is gone now, and like Dutch is just fucking crazy. Like I just know something terrible is gonna happen to everybody I love in that game.
You need to finish the game.
You need to finish the game.
Okay, I'll finish the game.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'll finish the game.
So
another one that you never finished Far Cry 5 too, and I really wanted someone.
Do that.
I don't. Tango, did you play Far Cry 5 by chance?
I did.
Did you complete it?
No.
I want someone to bitch about that story. So I don't necessarily blame you for not finishing Far Cry 5 though, because I didn't feel like the story of Far Cry 5 was that great. But I really want to talk to someone who finished it so I can like mutually bitch about it with someone, because I thought it was the worst ending to a game that I possibly have ever experienced in my life. It was horrible. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, just that I was really mad about the ending.
So this kind of like segues into what we want to talk about next, the video game ADD part, because Ginger and I actually kind of both suffer from that. Whereas Ryan, you have one, like I don't think you'll ever freaking get tired of Warzone at this point. Like you've played it for so freaking long now, and like you're having a blast every time you play it. But the topic I want to get into now is variety streaming versus single game streaming. What do you guys think? Is there one answer to that, or is it kind of just dependent on the streamer? Do you guys think, like, what are the pros and cons of each?
Well, I think I think it's independent for each streamer. I think each streamer can, in the end, right? I guess it depends on what your goals for your stream are, which is obviously variable amongst each streamer, right? But I do think, and I think this is a pretty widely accepted belief, if your goal is to grow in sheer numbers, stats and everything on your stream, in general, I think it's pretty well believed that sticking to a single game is the best way to do that.
Agreed.
However, I am of the opinion that, and because of the way I approach kind of the goals of my stream, which is really to just build a fun community and share my experiences with that community, kind of regardless of size, while I want to grow my community, I want to grow my community, in a specific way. So I think it's a different mindset, because if you're a variety streamer, it means you enjoy playing different kinds of games, and your stream the content on your stream is going to come across differently if you're really enjoying the games you're playing versus playing a single game all the time, whether you want to or not, kind of deal, right? So I think it's goal dependent. But if your goal is to grow in sheer numbers, I think it's pretty clear that you play a single game.
Yeah. Ginger, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything Ryan says. I do think maybe an important distinction though, actually, I guess I would differ maybe a slight bit, because if you're playing, like if you were trying, if you ever go to like Fortnite, right, on the Twitch page, there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people playing with 0 viewers. Like if you scroll all the way down. So I guess I would differ just a little bit. Like if you're gonna play, if your aim is growth, actually I would say you need to not only, from what I've read anyway, and listened to on different podcasts and stuff, if you want to grow, you should play one game, and you should also play a game that has a niche audience where you can scroll down. When you click on that game on the Twitch page, you can scroll down like 1 or 2 rows, maybe max, where people are in the 5 to 10 viewer range, and you can just plug yourself in there. I had the experience early on of kind of sort of some of the best numbers I ever put up on Twitch when I was playing some game called Kenshi, which is just like a story simulator, weird like RimWorld type strategy, kind of RTS-y RPG. It's one of the strangest games I've ever played. And at one point I was pulling in like 12 to 13 viewers at a time, just because nobody else was streaming this game, and the 100 people or so that were watching this game were just looking for new people, right? I got a bunch of followers and everything. So I guess if your goal is just growth, then I think that would be what I would say is like, that you need to play one game that's in kind of this niche, whatever, I guess that's my thing. But I don't know, like, I've never, I kind of just am who I am. As far as my own stream goes, like, I kind of just am who I am. Like, we make jokes about me being ADD and everything, but that's literally just where I'm at as a gamer right now. And so I have never been able to dedicate myself to one game. The closest I've come in recent memory is my Tarkov streak. I need to go back and look, but I think I probably played that for a solid month and a half. And that's pretty much all I was streaming. And now I'm kind of meh about it. I mean, it's like, I really enjoy Tarkov. I love it. But like the idea of just streaming that, like there's a bunch of other games I want to play, but that's how I've always been with games. Like I just love new stuff. Like, I don't know if this is true about my stream or not, but like, I feel like it's sort of becoming a trope, like that there's a new game that comes out that Ginger thinks he might really like, and so he gets to experience that for the first time with his chat, and like and we get to like bumble through it and learn it. I mean, that's been the fun thing about Doom is like getting into it and like actually understanding it and learning it, and then hopefully completing it in the next couple of days. I don't know where I'll stop talking. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like my goals, I guess.
I want to just go back real quick before Tango takes his points, but I completely agree with what Ginger was saying there, and I meant to say that when I was talking was, yeah, picking a single game is good for growth, but picking a single game like Warzone is not the play if you want to grow.
Even Tarkov now. Tarkov has an ass load of people streaming it.
Overly saturated, it's unreal, right? So I completely agree with Ginger in that regard. You gotta, if you want to pick, most of these people who made it big in these games, like Warzone, for instance, you basically have to be one of two things in Warzone. You have to be either you were already big before you came over to Warzone, or you're a professional Call of Duty player. Those are like the two criterias that you basically, I don't think I know of anyone, unlike Fortnite back in the day, because Fortnite kind of caused Twitch to blow up, right? I don't think there's anyone who's like made it big on Warzone, like, was nobody and then is now like somebody on Warzone. It's just overly saturated.
Well, you need to go and grab your audience from areas outside of Twitch, because we've already discussed that the Twitch's algorithm for discoverability is god awful, right? Like, I wouldn't have met you guys if it wasn't for Twitter, because I think Ginger and I originally linked up on Twitter, and that is how I've found a lot of other people among the streaming community that come and hang out in the chat and stuff. That I didn't just go in and start playing random games and then. Actually, I take that back. There was some games, there's some people that I met like just playing random games, but a lot of that is a lot of my audience and a lot of my community came from outside of Twitch, and I think that that's the best way to go about it. But as far as streaming a single game, I agree. Like, that is, if you want to just kind of explode, right? You have to pick a game that's kind of still somewhat underground, but is a really good game. And then that game just happens to freaking explode one day, and you explode with it. But you have to really enjoy that game a lot to play that and only that every freaking day. Like, can you imagine you got famous off of a video game, right? And now you have like thousands of people watching your stream, or even hundreds, whatever, right? And now you have to play that game, or else they're not going to watch your stream anymore. That's kind of a rough situation to be in.
If you're making a livelihood off of your stream, if your livelihood is based off of your stream, that's a big deal, right?
It's huge, and it's like something that a lot of streamers have to deal with. But for me personally, like Ginger, I have video game ADD. I can't pick a game and stick with it for that long. So I think that it's like a slower audience that you're building, but in my opinion, it's a more quality audience that you're building, an audience that likes to come and hang out with you and watch all the games that you enjoy playing, because like nothing sucks more than streaming and not having fun. Like, it's just another job at that point, isn't it? And people can tell. You can tell when you go to a stream and someone's not having a good time. Like,
and by the way, it's a job that is, at that point, it's a job that's not fun and is paying something like 2 cents an hour. So
right.
I mean, it's the worst of both worlds.
Well, and something I kept my mind on when I started streaming too was, you know, I was never going to let my stream dictate what I wanted to play. I kept telling myself that. But then, so like, to your point, it becomes a job that you're not enjoying. It's a job that doesn't pay well. And all of a sudden, it's a job that's basically like eroded your favorite hobby, which is playing video games.
Absolutely.
So not only is it a job, not only is it not paying you well, but it's taken the fun out of your favorite hobby. Like, what that's like the doomsday scenario.
Well, and I think this kind of begs the question again, like maybe to dive into it a little bit deeper, like as far as your goals go, and trying to make it on Twitch. And maybe I'm saying this just because I haven't made it, but like, I don't know, ever since affiliate and like starting the podcast and the stream team and like doing all these things that I really enjoy, I don't really give a shit about subs or donos or money anymore. Like, I mean, I do, right? Like, it's nice to have, but at the end of the day, I'm just having fun, right? And I've really, like, over the last couple of weeks, like, I've really stopped giving a shit about the followers and the viewers as much. I mean, it still sucks, right? When you've got the camera on, like, you want to have people in the chat and talking. Like, that's when streaming is a lot of fun, right? But to an extent, like, I just like playing video games. And I like I think Tango said this at the very beginning of like first episode, is like, you know, I'm going to be doing this anyway. So why not stream it? Why not have some fun with it and build a brand off of it and everything? And I think too many people get caught up in like, oh, well, maybe I'll just stream and do this as my day job. And like, I don't know, man. The more I've gotten into this, the less I really think I want this to be my one thing that I do. Like, I just don't know that. I think this just needs to be something where I can just pour my creative energy into and just have fun with it. And if it's not fun, then fuck it, you know. I don't know. That's just kind of my thing. I don't know if you guys feel that way or not. But
well, yeah. So the whole reason I brought this up is because I feel like a lot of streamers go through this in their minds, and like, if you say you haven't ever thought about like, you know, I should play this game because more viewers want to watch this game, you're freaking lying. There's no way. Like, I think every streamer and their mother, well, I don't know if their mother streams, but every streamer is going to come across this decision that they have to make where I don't really want to play this game anymore. But if I don't, then I'm not going to keep that consistent viewer average that I've been having lately. But what you were saying, Ginger, like, stop worrying about the viewers and worrying about the subs and all that. When I stopped worrying about that stuff, I actually started doing better. I started getting more subs. I started getting more people in the chat and hanging out and stuff, and donating bits and all that kind of stuff. Like, when you focus more on the quality of your stream and the content that you're creating, that's what's going to draw people there. Don't focus on the number of people that are watching that content, because you're not putting as much energy into making your content worth watching when you're worrying about all that stuff.
Well, and when that mentality comes through in the content and the community feels that, and that's why it happens that way, right? You stop worrying less, or you worry less, you stop worrying. you're all of a sudden just having a good time playing, your game and streaming, and that is felt by the people who come into your stream, and the content is there, and the vibes in the community are there. So that's why it works that way. I remember actually the first time I've only streamed The Long Dark twice, this last week, and then once like a while back, maybe a couple months. And I remember having the conversation. I think I had it with Ginger. I was talking about it. And I said, I think The Long Dark I think I could get some great numbers with Long Dark because there's not that many people who stream it, but there was like a 500 to 600 viewer base.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, statistically, like, oh, easy. And so I went and streamed it. That's not the reason to go stream the game, though. And I tell you, I remember that stream very specifically for a couple of reasons. One, I had a very interesting individual in my chat. But two,
are we going to talk about that? Or?
Oh, we can talk about it. But I remember it being a very miserable stream. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't have fun. I couldn't wait for the stream to end, honestly. And it's because I wasn't playing Long Dark because I wanted to play Long Dark like I did this last week where I had a great time. I was playing Long Dark because I thought statistically I would kill it in numbers, and I didn't, and it really got me down. It was just it was the wrong reasons to go play the game, and that comes through. I went back and watched the stream, a little bit of the VOD, and I was like, my God, I'm dull. It's clear I'm just not having a good time.
Yeah, you're not saying shit, you're kind of just in zombie mode.
My channel if I was just wandering through Twitch. I wouldn't have stayed in my channel.
Do you guys do that a lot? Do you guys watch your own VODs a lot?
I watch portions of it, and then I go back. I go back and clip things. I've actually started every time I know something happens on my stream, I take the timestamp down because I want to go back and clip it.
Same
and
here.
I used to not do that, and I would lose like where it was at in the stream. So I do that, and then I'll go to bits and pieces just to see how I like to take a look and see how I'm doing, from my perspective.
Because I've actually like sat down on the couch, put myself up on the TV, and just watched myself. My wife used to poke fun at me too, like, oh, yeah, you love yourself that much, right? But like, I wanted to make sure that I would watch the content that I'm producing, because if you wouldn't watch it, then who the hell else would? Like, and that's why So I used to just think like I'm never going to play video games off stream. There's no point. Like I should just be putting the time in and streaming. But now I'm realizing that not all games are like that fun to watch, unless you have some specific niche that you can use to make it fun. Like there's a lot of streamers that stream World of Warcraft successfully. I don't stream World of Warcraft anymore because I thought my World of Warcraft streams were garbage. So it is still something that I enjoy playing off stream, but there's specific games that I will only play when I'm not streaming, and there's specific games that I'm like, this is a fun game to watch, and then there's a lot that you could do as far as content creation goes, live content creation goes with this game. Like Tarkov's a freaking perfect game for that because, you have those sort of intermittent, like in between missions where you're setting up your inventory, you're setting up your next loadout and stuff, and you're kind of interacting with the chat at that point, and then boom, you're back into a raid that lasts tops 40 minutes, and there's plenty of action within that 40 minutes. So there's just certain games that are better suited for it, and certain games that I just don't even bother streaming because I don't have a good time streaming them. I have a good time playing them, but I don't really have a good time streaming them.
I still get into modes where I do just want to game off stream and not have kind of the mindset, like you can really just kind of shut off completely and not have to work with your OBS. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to, there is still, I have several, I'd say several times every month where I just play games off stream and just enjoy it. And,
I mean, you need that, right?
You do. I mean,
it's still a hobby.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. So I guess I would say to like, people that are maybe starting out or small around our size, like, I don't know. I mean, I think going back to your original question, Tango, about the, what you're trying to build as far as the community goes. I mean, that should be your focus. And like I posted on Twitter a few days ago, like I got to actually thinking about it. So I started streaming in around about January or February. And at the time, like I left a really toxic work situation where I was probably in the worst state mentally I've been in a long time. And I'm glad I left. Like I don't regret any of that. But at the time, like I quit like a week before Colorado completely shut down because of the pandemic. So I was literally
excellent timing.
Sitting there.
Nice timing, brother.
Excellent timing. I mean, like literally, I had probably 3 or 4 solid job prospects coming out of like quitting. Like they say, you should never quit a job without having something else lined up. That's absolutely true. Don't do what I did. And I found myself in a situation where it's like, okay, well, like everything dried up, and it was one of those things where I was like, okay, well, I have to do something. Like I can't. I will just disintegrate if I don't do something. And so I put all my energy into streaming. And you know, now I'm sitting here, what, 8-9 months later, where I literally have more friends, most of them online gaming friends. Literally have more friends at the end of this year than I started with at the beginning of this year. And for someone like me, who's generally pretty introverted and doesn't really have a lot of friends in to begin with, you know, I'm not trying to make you guys feel sympathy for me or anything. I'm just the fact of the matter, right?
Aw, loser.
I don't feel sympathy. It's okay.
But yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't think you would. But I, you know, I mean, for me, it's just been great. You know, I mean, I've been able to do things that I've always wanted to do, and never was able to. And now we have this, you know, we have this podcast for one. We have our stream team, like I said, more friends, like close, you know, good friends. And I think that should be your aim. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't pretend to tell somebody what their goals should be, but for me personally, the goal is not, you know, I'm going to stream full time so I can just sit around and, you know, get paid playing video games. I mean, for me, it's just about, you know, meeting cool people. I mean, like I've got friends now that are, you know, that live in, you know, other countries, you know, like, and like, you know, have a different perspective on things, and just experiences and stuff that I would have never otherwise had just working my boring day job and not streaming. So I don't know. I mean, I got kind of emotional about it the other day, like actually thinking about
the one good thing to come from 2020 was the friends we've made.
Changed. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, not to get all fucking Hallmarky about it, but for real, I mean, that's exactly what I was feeling. I don't know. I just, yeah, it's great.
But I think what we've basically just solidified is there is no right answer to what you should do with your stream, and you should just do whatever your establish goals for your stream, but I mean, it should be whatever you want it to be.
But have fun with it.
You're trying to do. Exactly. I mean, build a community, have friends. There is no right answer to it.
Yeah.
And I would argue that the vast majority of these big time streamers, not to take, you know, success away from people, but a lot of these big time streamers were honestly just in the right place at the right time.
That happens. They
were playing, you know, they obviously did extremely well to build their brands and their communities, and their, you know, they have their talents and whatnot, but a lot of them were just playing Fortnite at the right time and it just blew up, right? And so don't sit there and like beat the hell out of yourself because, you know, it's not, you're never gonna be a big, you know, multimillionaire unless maybe you are. I don't know. I'm not one to tell you how successful you're gonna be. You just got to do whatever you want to do and enjoy it.
Well, and I think one thing too that people think that's a misconception, and maybe this goes without saying, but like, you know, I mean, I think is it Ninja, or I think it's Shroud actually who like openly talks about streaming for years to like 0 people, right? Mm-hmm. And so those people have struggled too, you know, to get any viewers. And I think another thing that often goes unsaid when you're starting streaming is if you're actually going to take it seriously, even if you do it as a hobby, it's a lot of goddamn work, especially like initially setting things up. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Not even just initially, because like you'll keep resetting. Like you're talking about setting up your overlays and all that stuff, and even like adjusting, because you could tell when somebody actually treats this like, you know, I don't make like some crazy money off of this, but I still do treat it like a business because quality is important to me, right? And so when you're talking about like making sure that the audio levels are all adjusted correctly, making sure that the game volume versus your voice, and then especially when you start playing video games with other people, like in Discord, whatever, and you're trying to manage their volumes and stuff, and like audio is like the single most important thing, right? And then you have the video aspect where are you streaming at the right bit rate for the resolution and frame rate that you're trying to go for, you know, because Twitch only allows you so much if you're a non-partner. I forgot where I was going with this. What the hell were we just talking about?
A lot of work.
Yeah. Okay, so
streaming is, yeah.
So so there's all of that, and then you also have like your overlay, which, you know, you could start off with something that's like a base overlay that maybe something maybe you didn't even create yourself. Maybe it was like just some pre-made one, and that's fine. But like I ended up doing a lot of like Photoshop work to get my overlays looking the way they do. And I never knew how to use Photoshop. I kind of like taught myself that skill as a result of streaming because, you know, also goes into like making emotes and little icons for the channel points, logos and all that stuff. There's so much work that goes into streaming behind the scenes that the viewers will never know about, because a lot of people just look at streaming and think like, well, yeah, it's just playing video games. Like, that's awesome. I thought that too until I started streaming, and I was like spending hours and just like late nights trying to get my stream to look right the way that I wanted to, the way that I thought it would look right.
And that's not even inclusive of the things that you would then do outside of the streaming itself, right? So, you know, Tango does YouTube videos as well, which I can only imagine the amount of time that goes into making those. I mean, I take a ton of time just to go to my VODs and clip moments. I mean, that takes time in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
And then to go through the work, I personally haven't ventured into YouTube content creation yet, although it's on one of my goals. But that's just something that adds even more time and work to the whole thing. And if you're enjoying it and you like putting together the content, it's worth it all. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit less of the YouTube videos lately, just because, like you mentioned, like it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And I was like taking no nights off for a while, trying to go through all of my old VOD. Like, because even you do a stream, right? And you're streaming for let's just say minimum 3 hours, right? Let's just say your stream is 3 hours long. You now have to go back and rewatch 3 hours of footage to find out what you want to put in the video and what you want to leave out of it. That it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
And that's just to gather the content to then go edit into an actual
right.
It's
fun though. It is fun though, but you know, it takes work.
I think some for me, another thing I didn't expect is it can be very stressful, but like frustrating, I guess is really probably the word I'm like. So for instance, this past week has been a really weird streaming week for me because I ran into some technical issues that there was no rhyme or reason for what the heck was going on with my stream. So last Sunday, I went to stream Warzone. About 45 minutes into my stream, my upload rate through slobs, I mean, just fell off. I was my bit rate was at like 500, and I mean, it just wasn't getting to Twitch. Nothing was getting to Twitch. I was dropping everything. I stopped the stream. I restarted my internet. I restarted my PC. I went and got a new glass of bourbon. I mean, I don't know what else I could have possibly done to figure this out. And I was testing my speeds. My speeds were fine internet-wise. Nothing was different settings-wise. Everything was the exact same. I just literally was not getting my stream to Twitch for some reason.
Dude, I went through the same thing yesterday. So it's not just you. Weird. You told me that, and I was like, huh, that's weird. I've never experienced that before. Yesterday morning, right? It was Saturday morning. I woke up at 6:30, went and took a shower, made my coffee. You know, I was like, I'm going to do an early morning stream. I don't usually do this a lot, but, you know, like I really want to do an early morning stream. So I woke up super early. I hit the live button. It was like 98% dropped frames due to network. Yep. I was like, what the hell is going on? I tried to reset my stream a few times. I ended up like restarting the modem, restarting freaking my computer, restarting everything. And I don't know what the hell happened. Eventually, it just worked.
It just worked.
What the?
I
can't tell you how stressful that was, man.
It's so stressful. And then the stress in the moment and the frustration in the moment to me don't even compare to then I go stream on Monday night. I'm streaming The Long Dark, and I am constantly looking up at my OBS, looking to see if I'm dropping frames.
Yeah.
Because I'm just terrified it's going to happen. And actually, on Monday, it did happen for a few minutes. It dropped, but that was the only time. Thankfully, it dropped for about 4 minutes and then came back in. And then I'm streaming Thursday night, and I'm just constantly terrified. I'm dropping frames, and on it that comes across in my content. Because I'm more worried about my frames dropping than I am worried about playing the game and enjoying it and hanging out in chat, right? I'm just so in fear that because it's one thing if you know why it's happening, but it's the worst thing in the world when there's no rhyme or reason for anything that's going on, and it's very frustrating, very stressful. It drove me nuts. And
You guys think being in the military is a tough job? You think being in the military is a tough job? You should try streaming, man.
Well, but I think it's valid to point out. I mean, like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff just happens. I mean, one of my favorite streamers that does a lot of Tarkov and DayZ is Deadly Slob, and I think I heard him one time say that he puts in 60 to 80 hour weeks on the regular, like putting YouTube together.
Because he does his YouTube videos right after his streams. You know, like he'll turn his stream off, and then immediately go spend a couple hours editing videos off of it, which is awesome because if you have the time to do that, like that's when everything's fresh in your mind. Like, everything. You could be at a part and looking at your VOD and you'd be like, oh yeah, like, I was coming up to this part 5 minutes from now or whatever. Yeah. That's the biggest thing for like YouTube videos for me. I wanted to do this whole chronicle for that DayZ adventure we had. Looking back at it now, I was like, I don't even remember what happened where.
Yeah, right.
Well, isn't it interesting too? Like, I mean, I think if the one thing you can take away from streaming is this, as a small time streamer, is just to appreciate the amount of work and the dedication and like how hard it is to actually get something out that it's really like when I see. So, for instance, like when I go to a stream, I'm trying to think of a good example. I think just alerts, like super interactive alerts, right? Yeah. Like that make the stream fun to watch. That's an insane amount of work that you have to put into that
especially when
stuff.
you're talking alert varivariations, right? Like you have a 1 month subscriber versus like a 6 month subscriber, and having that alert come up differently. And
the only other real world application I have for it is like I played football for most of my childhood, like through high school and everything. I started offensive line in New Mexico. So I played a lot of offensive line, right? And I played enough football to know how fucking base amateur I am, like just as a person, like athletic wise. And so now, like, you just watch college sports or professional sports, and like you watch the line and little subtle things that you pick up on after playing for so long as I did. Like, you see somebody take that first, like just the first step that you take, off the line of scrimmage, right? And how difficult all of that is. You don't really have a good perspective for how difficult that actually is. What a feat of athleticism that those guys are pulling off on the reg. Just bang, bang, bang until you've actually tried to do that. I mean, another good example would be like if you've ever tried to throw an actual punch, and then you go watch UFC where those guys, like, that's just all they do. I mean, you gain an appreciation as a streamer for the big guys and for the people that are actually really fucking good at it. I mean, there's no free lunch. Like, that's just it, and if you think you're gonna, I mean, one thing I would say to someone who's thinking of starting streaming, or that's a small stream, and if you think it's going to be easy, then you're fucking crazy, because it's not. Like, and that's fine. Like, you can be an amateur. Like,
I thought it would be easy. I was so wrong, because all you see is a guy playing video games, and that's it.
Right. And I think the important distinction there is it's fine to be an amateur. It's fine to do this as a hobby. It's really rewarding, actually. But you can't go into it thinking that you're gonna. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, just in the depths of night, scrolling through, Twitch and watching people who you can just tell, like, think that they can just turn on a game, and that and people are just going to come watch, and it's just not going to work that way. And you got to be okay with that.
You got to be willing to spend some money too. That's just the reality of it. Like, you got to be willing to spend some money if that's something that you really want to do, and like if you want to just do it as a hobby, that's fine, right? But if you want to attract an audience and really build a community, you got to be willing to put some money into it. When I started streaming, I didn't have a camera. I didn't have anything but 2 monitors, a microphone, headset, and just that was it. My computer, and that was it. Since then, you know, I've made some upgrades to my computer. I've got the camera, the whole green screen, everything. Like, some of this shit develops over time, but you gotta spend some money if you really want to attract the audience like that. But the thing is, like, you're talking about how you're watching a football game and you could really appreciate the athletic abilities of the athletes and stuff there. Most people, they don't have to think about that stuff though. Just sit on the couch and drink beer, enjoy the game, you know. And that's all you have to do as a viewer too for the stream. Like, fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes into streaming, and this is kind of more for the people who are thinking about maybe starting a stream. But for the viewers, just give them something they can enjoy. That's it, you know.
I like to sit on a couch and drink beer.
It gets great.
A little too much. That's part of the reason why my athleticism has taken a steep dive. like a steep stock.
My athleticism's taken a dive, man. The Army came out with this new fitness test that they have us doing now, bro. So the first, let me talk about this for a second, dude. The first time I took this test, right? There's this event called the Sprint Drag Carry, where there's 25 meters and you have to sprint across it, sprint back, grab a sled with weights on it, drag that across, drag it back, then you sidestep run 25 meters, go back, then you grab 2 kettlebells, you run all the way to the end, go back, and then you turn around and you sprint again 25 meters and go back. By the end of that shit, my ears were ringing. I was seeing blurry. It was like that scene from Saving Private Ryan, dude, where he's on the beach and his ears are ringing and the guy's fucking picking up his arm and shit. I saw a guy on his hands and knees throwing up. Like, I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? That was my experience with it. I just thought that was worth sharing.
They're simulating a battleground by making you run a bunch.
Bro, I actually, like, my legs were so dead by the end of that I actually kicked the ground and tripped over it just trying to run because I couldn't pick my legs up high enough.
I think the other thing that I would say just about streaming in general, is that, and this coming from someone who struggles a lot with his own mental health, if you are looking for your stream to be a cure for whatever you've got going on up here,
man.
you better fucking think twice, because there is, you know, we alluded to it a little bit about how discouraging and how you know, just frankly depressing it can be, like when shit's not working, when people aren't coming into your stream, yada yada. I'm telling you right now, if you've got some sort of thing going on, you better be taking care of that off stream, because because you'll just, I mean, you'll disintegrate. I mean, it will not be that thing for you.
And you can see on Twitter, some streamers will post like how awful streaming is and oh, it's so hard to hit the live button. I feel for you.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of other streamers that are in like much better moods, and honestly, like, I feel like a lot of streamers will turn and try to get people to feel sorry for them, and that's not the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be the people that care about you on your content, in your community, and that's all well and good, but don't like guilt people into coming into your stream and being interactive, and like there's a million and one reasons why I might not tune into somebody's stream, you know what I mean? And some days you might start streaming and you won't have anybody in your audience, and maybe they're out watching fucking football or something, or maybe they're like other favorite streamers on or something. Like, don't take it so goddamn personal, you know what I mean? It's weird when you see people that try to like guilt their audience into coming into their stream, like, oh man, this is just so hard. It's so hard to hit the live button. Some other streamers are just so lucky, and it's just like, dude, get a grip, man. Have a good time.
Yeah. And if you do have, if you are legitimately having mental health issues, or you're just in a funk or whatnot, like.
And that happens to everybody.
Don't let that. Don't put that onto your community. Like, you need to, like Ginger said, you need to deal with that, and you need to seek the right kind of, the right kind of help and the right kind of treatment. Streaming is not. It can be an outlet, and video games can be an outlet, and it can be a way to escape, but it's not going to fix your life.
No, I mean, it can help a lot. I mean, having, like I said at the beginning of the stream, like me ending the year with having more friends and more of a community and more support, frankly, than I did at the beginning of the year. I mean, that's a great thing, but you cannot, if you're looking to be fixed by Twitch,
I think it'll have the opposite effect, personally.
Exactly.
Like starting out, it'll have the opposite effect.
Absolutely. Yeah, there have been plenty of times where I've been completely and 100% discouraged with streaming and Twitch, and just been like
what's the point? What's the point of doing all this work, right? Like, that's kind of what goes through your head.
Maybe this just isn't the play. Maybe I should just go play video games, on my own, and not deal with it.
Maybe I should just go drink.
Yeah, another bad thing.
Hang on. Tango's on to something.
Tango's on to something.
Hold the phone, ladies and gentlemen. Although I do that on stream too.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. We're kind of running out of time here.
Topic? I don't even know, where were we?
I think we covered it.
I think we covered it. That was everything.
It was one of our best deep dive. I don't even remember how we originally got here, but that was like a really good deep dive.
That was good stuff. We are running out of time here, but before we end it, Ryan, I want to hear about this viewer that you had in the Long Dark stream.
Oh, good. I'm glad you didn't let that one die. I did. God. This was another voice for me, let me tell you. So like I said, I had jumped into Long Dark. I was trying to find a game. Again, don't do this ever if you're going to stream, but I was trying to find a game where I had like a good statistical odds to get a bunch of viewers. And Long Dark was a game that I knew I had enjoyed playing in the past. It had a pretty low amount of streamers, but a pretty decent base. So I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. So I get into Long Dark, and I'm playing, and I have a viewer who hops in and into chat and starts kind of chatting and says, hey, da 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 da. I don't remember the exact chain of events, but it basically, I found out he was, or at least, from what he was telling me, was like a young adolescent kid, maybe like 12, 13, 14-ish. And again, you've got to take everything on Twitch with a grain of salt. You just don't know what anyone actually is, right? But anyways, as far as I'm concerned, he's like a 13, 14-year-old kid. I ask him how's he doing, because he says he's from Canada, and the game part is set in Canada, and he's talking about he's talking about being up in Canada, and I ask him how he's doing. I said, well, I've been better. My dad left my mom and I today or yesterday or something.
Oh boy,
and it's just been really, really depressing. And I'm like,
streamer turns guidance counselor real fast.
I'm like, whoa, like I don't know what to say here. So I just, I say, I'm sorry. That sucks to hear, man. And, he just keeps these like, yeah, it's just, my mom's been really sad late. And it just took this really dark, depressing route down. And I'm like, oh, wow. And Ginger's texting me and he's like, woof. And I'm like, yeah, woof is right. And it was just like, I didn't know how to, again, I was only a few months, maybe a couple months into streaming. So I didn't know how to how to do. I don't even know how to deal with those situations.
listen,
with, like,
man,
my real life
I'm not
friends.
trained for
Like,
this. Just throwing that out there.
I am not the individual you want to be talking your feelings out with. Like I'm happy to just be there.
Be the outlet.
Yeah, be the outlet. But I'm not going to be able to talk you through that that situation. But I mean, I don't know. You know, like a lot of these streamers have a lot of their communities. You know, they talk about how that streamer kind of was their way to get through a lot of very depressing times and hard times and whatnot. And I'm happy to be
by playing games and providing content, not by really being their counselor.
And being someone they could, you know, just come in and start chatting, you know, kind of get away from it all, like, and start talking about video games, talking about other things, and being a content guy, and just being, you know, I'm happy to do that, but I cannot counsel you through your pops leaving, brother. Like, you know, you could do what I do and drink heavily, but probably that's not the route to take. I can assure you.
But that's I mean, to take it back to what we were talking about, though. I mean, that's the other thing you got to be ready for if you're gonna pop on that camera and stream. Like,
you'll get all kinds popping into your chat randomly.
You never know. You never know what people are gonna say and what they're bringing to the table, and you know, you kind of got to just, I don't know, I guess roll with it.
I think another thing to be cognizant of that I'm starting to run into these days is being doing streaming as a you know, hobby, really. And I have a full-time job, and I'm a finance professional for a corporate a publicly traded company and everything. So it's a little weird so I've got a couple people from work who now know I stream, and like some individuals who are very successful within our company, like vice presidents who know I stream. And I don't know if you've ever actually checked out my stream, but I say a lot of things on my stream.
I say a lot of things.
You know, things that I would not say in the workplace. But you know, I'm very professional at work, and I enjoy my job, and I you know, that is work, and that is where I'm professional. I'm not that way outside of work, and especially not when I game. But you know, I separate and balance the two extremely well. But it is weird, and that's something you kind of need to be ready for, and it's kind of something I've thought about a little bit now that it's happening more often, is how if you're in a situation where you have a professional job and maybe your stream isn't super professional, how that might kind of play into it. So I've thought you got to be ready for kind of a lot of different scenarios if you're gonna hop into this, but that's one that I didn't necessarily think about when I started streaming, and has become a little bit more of a prominent thing.
Very true.
That's a great point. Don't say stupid shit. You know, I mean, like you got it. You're like, the internet is forever, and I'm guilty of this. Like I've said things on stream or made jokes or whatever that that I wouldn't want, you know, somebody to go find and
tell us.
You know, nothing egregious. No, I mean, nothing super egregious, but like, you know, things that are taken, you know, could be taken in the wrong way, and you got to be careful of that stuff, and especially if you've got a full-time job or you would like a full-time job, you know. I mean, I don't think people should be like worried about I mean, you know, my personal industry, like the likelihood of somebody finding me that I stream is probably close to zero, and or really giving a shit about it, quite frankly. But you do need to think about that stuff. and don't be a racist, sexist, homophobic asshole in general, but certainly don't. I mean, you know, like
don't even joke about it on stream, like, you know.
Right. I mean, there are jokes that I would make, say, with Ryan, you know, off stream, off camera, just between the two of us, that I would never make on stream. Not because I am that person, but because I know Ryan is going to take it in a certain way that other people might not. Right. And so don't, you know, don't just let it all hang out. Like I don't know.
And I
can't.
I wanna make it clear, when I say a lot of things, I largely mean vulgarity.
Right.
You know, I curse like a sailor.
Dog, I picked up most of my cursing habits from the military, so my job don't give a shit at all.
See, and
Right.
so I should lead with I am not worried that, you know, someone will come onto my stream that I work with and find out that I'm some sort of like bigot, and because I'm not, and that is my first rule of my stream is absolutely no bigotry. I just don't want someone to take my vulgarity in the wrong light, because I am extremely it's very separated, right? When I go to work, and quite honestly, I work in a corporate finance position, but holy hell, we drop a lot of F-bombs at work too. So it's not like everyone is free of this, right? You know, so it's just one of those things you need to be cognizant of. I just wanted to clarify that.
Would it be a fun place to even work though if that wasn't like if you just no cursing, no like anything, like I would hate that job, dude.
Not for me personally, because again, that's not who I am, and sometimes you just need to, like, I remember it was this week, my boss came over and I was actually talking to that individual that who is in my stream every once in a while. We were sitting there talking, and my boss came over, and that individual goes, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And my boss just looks at us and goes, "Fuck." And sometimes you just need to have that, like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
like it's just, that's so. To your point, Tango, for me, no, I wouldn't enjoy working there, because that is just kind of who I am as an individual, and that balance of your personality and work is obviously a big deal.
Yeah. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, folks. Thank you guys. Awesome. Yo, dudes, I can't even tell you, like, I actually look forward to recording these episodes for real. These have been really freaking fun so far. So
I love doing these. These are a blast.
So hopefully you guys, the guys that are watching, listening, viewing, hope you guys are enjoying this as much as we are. This has really been an awesome experience so far. So we're going to end it here. Please be sure to check us out on Twitter and Twitch. The links for those will be in the video description below. So thank you guys for all hanging out. Ryan, Kyle, thank you guys. And
Thank you.
have a good day, everybody.